Imagine battling back from a season plagued by injuries, only to strategically bow out mid-race, on purpose. Jorge Martin's Valencia MotoGP story is one of resilience and smart decisions. But it also raises eyebrows about the real cost of pushing through pain in motorsport. Let's dive into the details of how the young Spanish rider, Jorge Martin, handled his dramatic return at the Valencia Grand Prix. After sitting out the final 4 races of the season due to a collarbone injury that had kept him sidelined, Martin was eager to get back on the Aprilia bike. He managed to complete 15 laps of the 27-lap race before pulling into the pits and retiring, a move that wasn't just a spur-of-the-moment call. It was carefully plotted with his team. The entire Aprilia squad gave him a standing ovation as he parked outside the garage, honoring his courage after a tough year filled with 4 separate injuries that turned his championship season into a nightmare. But here's where it gets intriguing. Martin didn't just fade into the background. On the opening lap, he deliberately veered off track, dropping himself to 21st position. This wasn't an accident. It was a tactical choice to ride at the rear and steer clear of the chaos unfolding in the pack. For newcomers to MotoGP, think of it like a chess game on wheels. Riders must balance speed, strategy, and safety, especially when their body isn't fully healed. In his post-race interview, Martin opened up about the pre-planned nature of his exit. He explained that the pain from his still-recovering collarbone, just 6 weeks post-surgery, made finishing the race impossible. "I perfectly saw the place to go in the field, and I just went out of the race track," he shared, noting that lingering fatigue and discomfort meant it was smarter to stop after a few laps. He clocked in those 15 laps, more than in the previous day's sprint race, as a positive sign of progress, but continuing would have been pointless and risky. To put this in perspective for beginners, MotoGP races are grueling endurance tests. Riders deal with high speeds, physical stress, and the constant threat of crashes, which can be catastrophic for someone not at 100%. Martin had warned earlier that another crash would be a disaster for his recovery. Yet, he emphasized that returning to action in Valencia was crucial, particularly because the circuit Ricardo Tormo would host the postseason test just 2 days later on Tuesday. "For sure, I have pain. But the thing is, I couldn't crash, so I did a weekend just riding for not crashing," he said. This conservative approach meant sacrificing time on the track, but he reassured fans that it wouldn't hinder his performance come February's preseason. It's a classic trade-off in motorsport, short-term caution for long-term gains, and this is the part most people miss, the strategic silver lining in his setback. Martin will get to test an upgraded Aprilia package on Tuesday, including the same frame that helped teammate Marco Bezzecchi and Trackhouse's Raul Fernandez secure a thrilling 1-2 finish for the brand at the Valencia GP. "Today I changed a few things on the bike that weren't in the right direction, so just gathering more information," Martin added. "We know a bit more. We know that's not the way. Working a bit on the maps, understanding what I need on this bike. I feel we are improving and we are making steps." Now, with his condition not yet at full strength, this test is a golden opportunity to refine the bike further. By February, Martin plans to be ready to push harder, chasing those elusive extra tenths of a second needed for victory. For example, in previous seasons, similar postseason tests have led to breakthroughs, like when other teams fine-tuned setups that turned underperforming bikes into podium contenders. But let's not shy away from the controversy here. Is it truly wise to race when you're not fit, even if it's planned? Some might argue that Martin's approach prioritizes long-term career health over immediate glory, potentially setting a precedent for safer racing. Others could see it as a missed chance to gain experience or points. What if teams start planning retirements to avoid risks? Does that dilute the thrill of competition? And, in an era where rider welfare is increasingly scrutinized, is this a progressive step or just another way to game the system? We'd love to hear your take. Do you think Jorge Martin's pre-planned retirement was a smart move? Or should he have pushed through? Share your opinions in the comments below. Agree or disagree, and let's discuss what it means for the future of MotoGP. Read also, MotoGP. Luca Marini guides Honda to its MotoGP concessions target in Valencia GP. https://MotoGP/news/Marini steers Honda to its MotoGP concessions target in Valencia GP. MotoGP Alex Espargaro tells Franco Morbidelli to focus after Valencia GP grid crash. https://MotoGP/Alex Espargaro tells Franco Morbidelli to focus after Valencia GP grid crash 107-77269. We want your opinion. What would you like to see on motorsport.com? Take our 5-minute survey. The motorsport.com team